Yo, better in the like, it's the Krewe NFC, the Roundtable where the real heads be. Talking NFL, the game we adore. From the touchdowns to the legends and so much more. That booking guy, he's got the stats on lock. Dropping knowledge on the field, watching every block. Back and bleeding green, cheering loud and proud. In the sea of cheese, as he's standing out the crowd. I can't hear with the looks and the smarts. Breaking down the plays, and he does it with heart. Then the snout, solid like the line. His takes are heavy, his vision's divine. Week by week, we break the game down. From every big play to every new crown. Offense, defense, we cover it all. From the springtime drafts to the winner's last call. It's not just a podcast, it's a fan's lifeline. Connecting every moment from the vines to the side.
Good morning, gentlemen. Krewe NFC Roundtable. Conference Championship Week. Where has this season gone? How are we doing, guys? It's definitely down south for Dallas. Andy, you got bragging rights on the show. I mean, you are the last team eliminated from the playoffs. I never thought I'd live to see the day again where the Bears are the last team standing in any group whatsoever. But good season for you guys. What happened last week?
Lost.
All right, let's go on to this week's game. Seriously.
We ended up losing in overtime, 20-17. Of course, it literally was one of those games where it was the Bears' game to lose, and in that respect, they were successful. And like we were just talking about, off camera and stuff like that, you had several different plays that, because the idea of Idiot McVay out-coaching anybody is just pathetic. He might as well end up in Dallas. That's how bad it is. Or Tampa. Anyway, there were several different plays, including one where I think it was DJ Moore, or was it Swift, who was actually on the 2-yard line, who, of course, they were handing off, running in for the game-winning, game-tying touchdown, possibly even the 2-pointer, whichever it was. But Roma Dunze, unfortunately, did not block his assignment. And, of course, that's where they ended up getting, he ended up getting stopped on the 2 or 3 yard line. They ended up going for a field goal, whichever the case was. And that's, unfortunately, where things kind of sort of escalated from there. There was actually several. I think there was 4 different ones where, unfortunately, there was some sort of a blown play, things like that. So the idea of being coached, not necessarily in this particular case. I think it was actually execution. And, again, the Bears certainly had their opportunities. In fact, it was one of those things where the Rams were able to take advantage of one more opportunity than the Bears, and that's how they ended up with a 20-17 overtime victory. I do have a feeling they're probably going to get their rear ends handed to them in Seattle, because Seattle's they're a pretty tough team. That defense is no joke. But so we have Caleb Williams, of course, just in order to get the 17 points. There was that one throw, which goes against every convention, you name it. Don't throw across your body. Don't throw across the field. Don't retreat 15, 18 yards and then chuck it down to the end zone for a touchdown. Things like that.
Well,
sure, things like that. But defense, of course, they were doing some pretty interesting stuff. They were, of course, blitzing and things like that. Even on first and second downs, I think if Matthew Stafford had, maybe 1 or 2 more hits, he would have gotten the happy feet, and it might have been a different story. But like I said, all told, it was actually an excellent game. Unfortunately, the Bears ended up on the short end, but there's always next year. You have several opportunities for players to come to Chicago to possibly bolster, if anything, the defense. The offense is actually does well. It really does well. So if you have that one more year of actual offensive cohesion, I definitely think you're going to have a really, really good offense and possibly even a good defense next year. And you see how the special teams gives you probably they're probably right around 70, 75%. I think they can do a little bit better, but they're still right around 70, 75%. So you get the defense squared away where you have a pass rush. You get your secondary squared away on your defense. And I think the Bears are going to have a really good defense, really good offense, and they might make some noise next year as well.
Well, let me play not devil's advocate, but let me give you my perspective on this whole game. You're going to hear a lot of people contradicting final drive of the final drive of regulation. You have the Rams on the ropes. You pull off an unexpected, unbelievable, unethical, unorthodox play, right? That pass where he threw the ball off his back foot from the 46-yard line to the back corner pylon was you had him on the ropes. Now, I'm not going to say I don't agree with not going for two because your defense was playing well. But when you have someone on the ropes, you might as well go for the knockout. Go for that 2-point conversion. You lose either way, right? You lose, you go into overtime, you lose. You miss that, you let your offense aside. That's the best part of your game, right? Your offense is obviously what was driving you that game. So I think you took that chance. You should have went for two there, but I do see the opposite side of it. You believe in your team, you believe in your defense, and you go and you go with the extra quarter. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think they should have went for two? Or anybody can chime in on this as well, not just Andy, but go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, but so at this point, you're actually trailing 16-17. So I totally get what you're saying. And, if this was maybe a couple of years ago, whatever the case is, I would have been like, you know what? I get it. You're either going to live by the sword, die by the sword kind of a deal. You're either going to be a GOAT or a hero. And that's going to be one of those things here. Whereas if you make it, Ben Johnson doesn't have to worry about, buying a drink in the city of Chicago forever. If by chance you don't, does that actually leave such a black mark over that particular play, that particular, where the Bears in and of itself kind of sort of fall apart a little bit? I don't think they're necessarily that flimsy of a team. I think you have a fairly solid base. But I also think it's probably better in this particular case to actually head for overtime in order to be able to kind of do what they should have actually done and actually be able to get far enough down to kick a field goal themselves and actually win, because it was all set apart.
Let me look at. So earlier in the game, you have how many fourth downs that you went for? How many fourth downs in prime point area? You're within the 30. You should kick there. You kick there, you win the game. Instead, you go for it on fourth down. You turn the ball over. Why the different mindset? If you're playing for keeps, play for keeps.
Yeah, but you also don't want to necessarily be reckless, simply because, you had the winds that were swirling around, you had the cold temperatures, things like that. You didn't necessarily want to give up an opportunity either. So you can be as aggressive as you want and go for the two and do this and do that, but you don't necessarily want to be able to put your team in a situation to where now all of a sudden you're going for it on 4th and 1 at the 10-yard line. Guess what? You just gave them 7 yards in order to be able to score a touchdown or just simply kick a field goal. My point is, you don't necessarily want to be needlessly aggressive.
Correct.
Well, here, can I actually like that you brought up that question, because that's the kind of like the one thing that I was thinking about was like they were 3 for 6 on fourth downs, but looking at the overall aspect of the game, 2 of those fourth downs were in Ram territory. Within field goal range, especially the one in the third quarter when they're on the Rams' 3-yard line. And if you've already been stuffed 3 times in a row, why don't you take the 3 when you're that close? And then the other time they were on the Rams, I think they were on the Rams 30, 35 or something like that. And Santos had already made a field goal from 48, and he's been literally locked in the playoffs. Why don't you give him the shot when your defense was playing actually rather well against the Rams?
Well, I agree. And again, I think, different sides of the field are going to be, different as far as weather, as far as the wind and the circulation and stuff like that. That's the only thing I can kind of think of, because whatever the idea is, obviously they're smarter than we are, simply because they're the ones who are getting paid to, do what we talk about. But I probably would have gone for a field goal myself. However, I can see why he didn't, because if by chance you're actually stepping on the old, on the old throat there, so to speak, and you get that final inch, similar to like the 2-point conversion, you're basically going to break their back. Everybody's going to be down, that kind of thing. So I think that might have had something to play in it as well. But again, it was the Bears game to lose, and they did. So
here's the thing: if you go for 2 there, right, and go for the win, I mean, there's so much to me at that point. You've already gone in for 4th down so many times. Why not just go for it? But there's also, I mean, there's a really good chance that you could go for a 2-point conversion, try to throw it to your tight end, and have a corner and safety jump on top of the tight end and not get a pass interference call to make you move on to the next round of, into the deep into playoffs.
Yeah.
Because Hobart paid the refs off. Oh, and hang on, we're talking about the Bears. But no, I still think we should have. I think the Bears, them going on for it to go. I really think they thought they had home field advantage with not going for 2 there, and I think that's why they went for it so many times on 4th down, because they were at home. I don't see them doing that much when they're away, because that's what seems what Ben Johnson's done this year a little bit. When they're at home, he seems like he's more aggressive with stuff. But I mean, that I don't think he at that point wanted to. I mean, say they don't get it and they end up losing, right? We don't know they're going to lose in overtime. We could say that now, but he's looking at it. If we don't get it and don't give us a chance in overtime, the Chicago media will blow that stuff up, completely the wrong way. So, I mean, at that point, I think what he did was just fine going forward in that position, even though he's gone for 4th downs through the whole game. I just think he was being aggressive because he was at home, but you just can't. I think he thinks too much about what can be said sometimes when he does stuff, because that's what it seems like to me, though, from an outside perspective of it. But either way, I mean, he goes for it. They make it. They win, but then he kicks it, and then they go to overtime and lose because they have issues. But everybody said, the defense is playing good. How would you not? I mean, that adds into the defense is playing good. So that adds into the factor of, okay, well, it's just easier to kick the field goal to go overtime because the defense has been playing well. And it just didn't work out, is what happened.
Sure. But then you also had, for example, Caleb Williams, with you're in that 10 to 15 yard range. And you're supposed to, especially in the cold weather, you're supposed to lighten up your pass a little bit. You don't have to chuck it down to your receiver, doing 90 miles an hour. You just simply don't need to do that. So there was at least 4 or 5 plays, which everything from Loveland to the Burden to, and you name it, where the ball was either just slightly off, that still could have been caught, or was either dropped or whatever the case is, because the ball was just screaming at him, from 10, 15 yards away. So if he gets that touch, a little bit of a touch pass going on that particular instance, I think you wouldn't have had to be put in that position, because the Bears very well may have scored enough points that St. Louis would have had to come back. But again, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But there's at least 4 or 5 passes that could have been or should have been, and for first downs and for big yardage and things like that, where he just chucked the ball way too fast. So when it's that cold, you know how it is when you're trying to catch a football or really anything. I know, like with Packers and Dallas and stuff like that. When you're looking to catch those balls, you just simply can't do that when it's 100 miles an hour towards your face. Well, maybe you guys can. But it's very, very difficult, especially in that situation.
Oh, my God.
I just want to apologize for Andy. He's still trying to figure out how to act after they have a winning season for the first time in a long time. So we apologize for that.
So
I think one of the keys on that. I think one of the keys, though, at the end of the game, Mike, is I know that why wouldn't you think about going for 2? I also think part of that decision was they had their sure hands guy Loveland injured and out. And I think if Loveland's still in that game, I think the decision would have been a little more difficult to decide whether upon go for 2, win it right here, or
I get it.
But you still had Cole Kmet, though.
I 100% understand why he didn't go for it. It's because he was in Detroit so long that Ben Johnson got his balls in his pockets as well. Because there's no reason to go for it 4th down repeatedly and then have the game in hand and decide, you know what? Now is when I'm going to not be aggressive. Now is when I'm going to take my foot off the gas. Now is when I'm going to let them get air into their chest. Because you had all the momentum at that point. If you lose the game, you lose the game. Guess what? He's still got a job this week. He's still got a job next week. Every player in that locker room respects that man because he led them to where they had never been. He's not going to get fired for going for 2 and missing. He's not. It's not going to happen. You put the ball in Caleb Williams' hands and you let him win that game for you. He got you there. And I'm not a Caleb Williams fan. I think he's vastly overrated. He makes a lot of erratic throws. However, he got you there. Put the ball in his hands. Let him run the RPO. Let him have the option to run or pass. Let the players play to win that game. And he didn't. He took that opportunity away. I really think that point, when he went for it on so many 4th downs, you're looking at a potential 8 points he left on the field. 8. That game was decided by 1.
Well, actually 3, but okay.
No, it was 1 point.
You guys your math.
Either way, it was a walk-off. It was a walk-off. He would have won that game if he'd have went for 2, he wins that game. 1 point.
Absolutely. And you see how you get that, you're starting to get that base. Again, like I said, you have that nice strong base that the Bears going to be able to build upon. You notice how even Burden, Zacharias, you had several different players, several different receivers that when they see him scrambling, they see him kind of sort of doing his little, especially to the right, when he starts going towards the right sideline, they know to actually break off of their routes and to be able to actually, try to get open. That actually wasn't happening even in the beginning of the year. It wasn't necessarily happening in the middle of the year. I don't know if somebody finally got to each one of the players, grabbed him by the shoulders, shook him accordingly in order to be able to kind of sort of get them to finally sort of, look at the whole team concept, to where you see that there's a problem going on in the play that you were trying to actually run, break off, come back, get the ball. And so that's, you see that was starting to kind of sort of really happen. So new and exciting things happening in Chicago. Hopefully we'll be in the same position next year as well.
To that point, DJ Moore, last play of the game for the Bears offensively. I'm not by any means a better athlete than DJ Moore, nor am I a better athlete than Caleb Williams. However, scramble drill tells you if your quarterback is rolling away, you cut in front of that defensive back. You have to cut him in so that you're in front of him and the quarterback. You don't leave anybody between you and the quarterback. Caleb Williams threw DJ Moore under the bus in that post-game press conference. Did you see how he said he didn't run, he didn't come back? I ran it, threw it to where he should have been. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. Is DJ Moore a Bear next year?
Yeah, I think he actually has done more to the positive to the negative. And yes, that play in that particular DJ Moore, I think, is probably single-handedly probably kept them in the playoffs as long as they did. You had, when one of the many times that we beat Green Bay this year, he, of course, went for that 45-yarder. He, of course, got that. That's what happens when you play the same team 3 times, but he's the one who probably single-handedly actually got us into the playoffs and actually kept us there for an extended period. So if somebody gets a little bit of leeway, which I get it, it could have been one of those things where it could have actually been playing in today's game. Very simply, I totally get it. But yes, he's definitely going to be a Bear now. I think he's going to be a Bear next year. Unless they have to get rid of him in order to be able to get Crosby. And Crosby might not necessarily get you 12 to 15 sacks a year, but with his motor and the fact that he disrupts everything, I think would be a major, major addition to the Bears defense.
Yeah, Max Crosby is a major addition to any defense. I think that's a pipe dream for most teams in the NFL at this time. But
There sounds like there's some interest on his side, and there will be some interest on our side now. Whether we can afford it and what the Raiders are going to want for that, you never know. It might be one of those things where they're going to want a receiver, maybe some cash, and maybe some draft picks. Okay, well, I can see a potential for a receiver and some draft picks. I don't know about cash, but oddly enough.
Well, we've wasted enough time on the dumpster fire known as the Chicago Bears, Indiana Bears, here in a couple months.
Please tell me we're not going to go to the South.
So,
or the East.
Let's talk NFC Championship game. None of our teams were even really in consideration except for Andy. And let's not talk about them anymore. We have the number one scoring offense going against the number one scoring defense. Does defense still win championships in this day and age of the NFL?
In this case, yes, because the Bears showed exactly how to beat the piss out of or how to be victorious against the Rams. And I think Seattle's probably going to end up clearing their proverbial clocks. Please go ahead.
The Rams come in today with only offensive tackle Rob Havenstein out with an ankle injury. The Seahawks are without Surratt, the linebacker, and Knight, the offensive tackle, is doubtful. But Seattle's offense, special teams, defense, all seem to be playing well. They all seem to be playing good complementary football. And I said last week, I don't see a team in the NFC beating the Seattle Seahawks at this point. If they play like they did against the Niners, if they play like they have the last few weeks, who beats them? Do the Rams' number one offense have a chance today? Brian, what are your thoughts?
Oh boy. So I'm looking at it like this. So week 16, these two teams hooked up in Seattle. Rams took this huge lead. And I mean, all you got to do is just basically play some sort of defense and you beat this team. And I mean, come on, it's Sam Darnold, and we've kicked Sam Darnold around the block like a million times on this show because we just still don't trust him, right? Anyways, Seattle comes back, beats them 38-37 in overtime. And I mean, that ended up being a much higher scoring game than what it should have been. I mean, today they're calling. I guess there's supposed to be some slight rain, but it's supposed to be in the 40s or something like that at kickoff. I don't think weather's going to be too much. I think it's going to be more of the crowd noise. It was raucous. Now, if Seattle starts playing like they did against the Niners, I do not see the Rams having a shot. I think, though, we may be set up for an epic game just because these two teams know each other so well. This is, it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat a team the third time around. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, well, the Bears. Yeah, every game was close, and every game was close in that.
No, I get you, dude. I just had to throw a punch when I could. The Bucs have been a shit show all season, so I had to take my shot when I could.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. To me, I think this factors in this game is really, can Stafford pick apart this really tough defense, and does the Seattle Seahawks have enough manpower in the run game to open up things to make it easier for Sam Darnold? With Charbonnet out now, you're relying on a couple unproven guys as your number two running back. Kenneth Walker's going to have a game today, in my opinion, if Seattle's offense is going to function like they should. I think this game is like a 27-23. I'm going to give it to the Seahawks just because they're at home.
Stout, what are your thoughts on today's game?
I was going to bring up what Brian brought up, but you went to him first. So, anyways, the last time they met, I'll finish up. They went to overtime, and Seattle won 38-37 in overtime. Just so we could clarify, their last meeting was 38-37 overtime.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Why do we care?
All right. So
Good Lord, people.
the Rams have turned over Seattle 3 times in the last 2 games, right? 6 total turnovers by the Seahawks, forced by the Rams. I still don't know that they can do that again. You've had the opportunity to beat them. You've had the opportunity to take out Seattle, and you didn't. Now you're looking at an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. This is the only way I think that maybe the Rams take this one here, is that Sam Darnold isn't ready for the lights that are going to be as bright as they are today. I mean, everybody's watching.
He's also not healthy. That's why I feel like the run game's going to be super important today. If you're going to force a guy with an oblique injury to start throwing the ball over the yard, mistakes are going to happen.
Absolutely. But my point is we're always waiting for the Darnold. We're always waiting for it to happen. Is that still in his back pocket? Is this game too big? Is he going to succumb to the pressure of not even the defense, but he'll get in situations where when he was younger, granted, he's matured a lot. He's playing vastly better than he has in the past, but the past is still going to haunt him, I think. I think that opportunity for him to see ghosts or whatever he said back in the day is still there. I think the pressure can still get to him, even if the Rams aren't generating it themselves.
Okay.
Go ahead, Andy.
So here's the thing. You have a quarterback who's actually taken 2 different teams to 14 win seasons.
Yep.
You have a fan base that is absolutely rabid in certain situations. And if you happen to be the opposing team in a proper setting, maybe on the 20-25 yard line, and you're trying to get a playoff, and you have 125, 130 decibel, yells and screams and hollers. So you have a quarterback who's actually prime to have success. Your home field advantage for sure, just because of that, 12th, 13th, 18th man, whatever the heck they want to call it. And you have a couple of key players out, including a quarterback that's not 100%. I just don't necessarily see, and yes, it will probably be a little bit closer than the shellacking that they had given to San Francisco. However, that defense, again, is no joke. They get a pass rush. That front four gets a push. So if you're going to be trying to run in the middle, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. You don't have the whole Legion of Boom or nothing like that, but you do have some solid secondary. So, if Sam Darnold can get a lead, I don't think Bradford, whatever his name is, I don't think he's going to be able to actually surpass that in this scenario. Now, if they get a lead, that might be a little bit different. Seattle might have a little bit of difficulty coming back, and they very well may. However, I don't necessarily see that being the case if it's reversed. Not in this scenario.
So field position will be huge this week. Seattle special teams is arguably the best. I don't mean kicking game. I mean return games. Their return games are arguably the best in the playoffs right now. He's averaging over 25 a return. So you give them that field position. I mean, that's a huge advantage. Your offensive playbook is always wide open with your special teams flipping the field for you like that. I don't want to see Seattle win. I honestly don't care, but I just Sam Darnold winning makes me feel bad. All right? I mean, what the hell? What are we doing?
So?
I hope he wins.
Who you? You're a Bucs fan. Really?
Hey,
You're used to mediocrity.
As a Bucs fan, you would think I'd hate the Rams more. Because the Rams, 79. What was it? 99.
You know what the Bucs really hate?
I mean,
you know what the Bucs hate? A winning record.
Winning? But anyway. So, give me your final score predictions on this game, and we'll touch on the AFC version of the clash as well. So,
there's an AFC?
Mike, let's start with you.
24-20 Seattle.
24-20 Seattle. Who's your game MVP, Mike?
Sam Darnold.
Andy, who you got?
I'm going to go with Sam Darnold, too. probably for 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a running score.
Wow.
And the score is going to be 28-24.5.
24.5. Got it. Brian.
I'm still sticking with my 27-23 Seahawks. And I honestly agree with the other two guys. I think it's Sam Darnold gets the MVP.
All right, I guess I'll be contrarian here. I do think Seattle's going to win, but just for shits and giggles, I'll go with the Rams winning on a defensive score. Your MVP for the game, let's give it to a Florida State Seminole. Seminole, Javon Curse.
Yeah, Javon Curse. So first off,
or Jared Verse. I mean, sorry, Jared Verse. I'm like having the worst.
I was going to say if we're 20 years ago.
Yeah, Jared Verse, 3 sacks today.
First off, you say poops and laughs, like shoots and letters. But secondly, I don't necessarily see. I say, and that's the other thing too, because of familiarity. I don't necessarily see the defense being as dominant. The Rams' defense being as dominant, quote unquote, as they normally would be, just simply because they're going to know how to be able to actually pick him up in the blitz. They're going to know how to pick him up with a running back, that kind of stuff. I just see Sam Darnold being able to throw for, like I said, over 200 yards and at least 2 touchdowns. So even though Surratt's out,
all right.
I just think with that, whoever a defensive coordinator from Seattle has made it back to where the Seattle used to be when they were really good. And I think that's a big issue for any of the teams in the NFC. So,
well, like I said last week, I don't see any team beating this Seattle team the way they were playing. The way they're playing such great complementary football. They're controlling time of possession. They're controlling field position. They're controlling turnovers. I mean, they're dominating all phases of the game.
And that's actually a pretty good point. Brought up. Doubt. What about Swagger? What about attitude?
He's brought something back. I mean, when you go back and look at where he's coached the past just decade of what he's done with every defense that he's had, it's coaching and buying in, getting his players to buy in. And I think that's a big thing with him. I think it's Mike McDonald. Is that who it is?
Yes.
I think that
McDonald.
Yeah, that's what his name. McDonald. Yeah. Yeah, I know how to spell his name. He's done really well at wherever he's been at. And you can see, I'm not surprised that if he's not up for some head coaching jobs and stuff, but I don't see him leaving just yet. I think he'll stay in Seattle for a little while. So after he left. So where was his last stint at? Does anybody know? I didn't really look it up. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, we know you didn't do your homework. I don't know, Mike. I really don't. I wasn't planning on you having.
He was at Michigan. Never mind. My bad.
I wasn't planning on having an intelligent conversation with you, so we kind of just glossed over.
He was at Michigan. That's where he was at.
I knew where you're heading.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Really well if you looked at their defense when he was there, Andy.
But
yeah, how'd that work out lately?
All right.
But no. Let's talk about it real quick. What about the whole attitude and swagger with the Seattle? Actually buying into that particular type of defense, or even that particular the play. You're at home with that crowd. You got a quarterback who's definitely well above average. What about that attitude? Is that going to actually be able to pull them through even to a Super Bowl victory?
Confidence is key. Honest to God, Deion Sanders used to say, look good, feel good, play good. It's all about confidence. If you're confident that you're going to do well and you go out there and you start doing well, it's going to grow. But if you go into that game second-guessing yourself, second-guessing your teammates, second-guessing the scheme, it falls apart faster than it can grow. So, yeah, swagger, confidence, whatever you want to call it, that plays a huge part in every game. And the fact that Seattle is growing and building and they just keep stacking on top of everything, right? They got a sound foundation, and this just keeps growing. I really think you're going to see – I mean, I know I said Rams just to be the contrarian, but I really think you're going to see Seattle come out and handle themselves well today.
So you said what was the coach's name? Is that him?
McDonald.
How'd that sound?
we have screen share option here.
Well, unfortunately, I'm having computer issues. That's why I don't have. It's not on my computer. That's why I have to use a tablet.
No, it's cool. I was just messing around because it honestly looked like white Jesus, like the whitest Jesus I've ever seen. I don't know who you put up there. But
That's Michael McDonald from the Doobie Brothers.
Oh, the Doobie Brothers.
Hey, you keep forgetting. Not it. Anyway.
All right. All right. There's another game today. We'll touch on this one lightly. Patriots heading to Denver. Denver's a tough place to play, but they're injured. I mean, they were expecting to get J.K. Dobbins back this week. He's not back. He's still out with his foot. Bo Nix is out with his ankle. You have your linebacker Sanders is out with an ankle, and Kroll, your tight end, your second tight end, is out with a foot injury. And your Patriots are coming in fairly healthy. Landry's the only one on the injury report. He's a linebacker out with a knee injury, but how does Denver pull this off? I mean, they have home field advantage. They have a great coach. As much as it pains me to say, Peyton's a good coach. He has times where he's taken lesser quarterbacks and produced W's with them.
Example, Teddy Bridgewater.
100%.
I always liked Teddy Bridgewater, though, even when he was at Louisville.
So
I remember like Jameis Winston, for example.
He did win with Winston.
Yes,
but
he
anyway,
did.
we have Stidham coming in at quarterback today. Played well in the preseason. They paid him $10 million just to come this season to be the backup. That's how much faith Peyton has in him. He was the first person Peyton brought over to Denver. So there's obviously that confidence that he's put into him. He also obviously is showing the rest of the team he has confidence in this kid. But do you? Do any of you have confidence that a game plan can be orchestrated to keep Denver in this game long enough to where their defense can come up and make a difference, or to where they get a Tim Tebow-esque play on offense to keep the Broncos propelling into the Super Bowl?
I think with this, the couple things that I did notice is that with everybody looking at, usually you get extra points for being at home and getting everything else. There's the sway that just went when Bo Nix went down, and then now was it J.K. Dobbins not being back. That just went from gave the Patriots, even if they're away, gave them more percentage to win than before. But from what I've noticed when they were playing the NFC teams is Denver's defense is legit.
Mm-hmm.
Like Seattle's defense is legit, like we talked about. They've kept them in so many more games than they should have been in. And I think on the other side with the Patriots, they're playing complementary. I can't even say it. They're both sides of the balls are complementing each other. Playing football.
Someone's been drinking.
So I have.
Hey, you're a pretty nice ball. Hey, right back at you. You're a pretty nice ball.
Yeah, they do. They complement each other very well. You guys like that? You guys like that one?
Oh my God!
I got to derail the show somehow. That's how I figured out I could do it. But I do think the Patriots are doing really well.
But I went back to work, got up on Monday morning, and there it was. Glory hole.
Let's be honest. I just do this to make you guys laugh half the time. Especially get Mike where he's at right now. Wherever to get Mike where he's at right now.
All right. So
oh God. Now that I derailed it, you want me to get it back on track here again?
Patriots are playing complimentary football.
Yes. No. They complement each other very well, Mike. They do.
The one's a little lower than the other, so yeah.
But I think all year they've, and I think that's the difference between the Patriots and Denver. Is Denver's defense could play like they have been. And
Can't stop laughing.
Yeah, I just think Denver pulls this one out because they're. Denver pulls this one out by 3. I think with the home field advantage, it helps in their defense. We'll see how good Drake May actually is. Again, Denver's hard to play at, just like Seattle. He gets loud there, and adding the other to Mile High and all that other stuff that they throw in there. It's I think Denver ends up pulling it out, even though I think Drake May makes some mistakes. I think, again, we talked about Sam Darnold and the lights. I think the lights might be a little much for Drake May, being he's a couple years in now and made it this far. I think it might be a little much because, like you said, Mike, with Peyton bring Stidham in, he's got confidence. He's been there, and I think that's I think Denver ends up pulling this one out by 3, but I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game, to be honest with you. So,
anyway,
let me add to that. So historically, the Patriots are 0-4 all time in the playoffs at Denver against Denver, and that's including Bill Belichick led teams. So let's get that out of the way. And when you do go to Denver, if you're not, let's just put it this way, if you're not careful in terms of which, especially like on the defensive side of the ball, if you can get quick 3 and outs against this Denver team today that is obviously playing shorthanded, I think that helps the defense very well in terms of keeping themselves right, being in the thin air up in Denver. But I also have this gut feeling that Sean Payton knows something that we don't. And the way he's coached teams and coached quarterbacks, he's got things up his sleeve. And I think if you're paying a guy $10 million to retain him as your backup quarterback, there's something there. And if he was willing to part ways with Russell Wilson and taking an $85 million cap hit because you realized he sucks, and you went and got, your Bo Nix, who seems pretty legit and stuff like that, I think I'm going to trust Sean Payton. And I think Drake May this is his biggest game of his career. And you're going on the road against a really good defense. I think Stout's got a good point. I really think that Denver could pull this off by a field goal. This is going to be a much lower scoring game than anybody's going to give it credit to. And New England, like I said, they beat Houston, but really did they beat Houston, or did CJ Stroud beat Houston last week?
No, a win's a win, man.
So
honestly, it's a win's a win. You take whatever you can get, and you're in the playoffs. No team's here by accident. They did something that shook up CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud turned the ball over. I mean, Vrabel's a good coach too, right? I mean, can we agree that Vrabel's a good coach?
I think that's what my other point was going to be was not taking away from New England, but Vrabel's a good coach, and you can kind of see when the players in the organization buys into what he's wanting to do, what the results are. I mean, he couldn't get that in Tennessee. And, taking that year off might have let him reset, figure some things out. But Vrabel's done a great job back, where he played at. He's done a good job. But I think if he could get the players to buy in, like I think he has, because that's what kind of coach he is. He gets those players to try to buy in. And when Tennessee was good, they bought in. And I just think that he does a good job coaching. But again, I think it might be a little too bright for Drake May, because after last week, like Brian said, it's just a little sketchy. So
I get you. I have full confidence in Sean Payton. The Bucs faced him for years, He always seems to be able to orchestrate some sort of screen, some sort of quick pass to get the ball out of his quarterback's hand quickly and get him confidence. So he's got confidence going into later into the game. Having said that, you see how good Vrabel is as a coach. You see how well his teams are prepared. It took him how long to get his philosophy, his game plan, his scheme into New England? They're in the playoffs. Look at Tennessee. They got a new coach, and now they're getting a new coach. You know what I mean? It's you got to give the man his roses. He's a good coach. I really think he's going to have his team ready to play. It's going to be a matter of who makes the mistake first, who flinches first. This is not going to be an offensive onslaught. This is going to be a defensive battle. I think it's going to be a race to 24, 27, somewhere in there. Whoever gets there first is going to win this game.
So it's fine and dandy to give him, his roses on his piano, but nothing beats tulips on an organ.
Yes, I knew it was coming. Oh.
And think about it like this. You have Vrabel, who I don't think he would allow his quarterback to be able to kind of sort of, get outside of his head. He might end up giving the old backhand and stuff like that and be like, hey, snap out of it. You're sitting here in the division playoff going for a chance for the Super Bowl. This is your team to be able to, and I think that with that being said, I would prefer the Broncos to actually win personally because screw the Patriots. I mean, they have 112 different championships because of that one guy, that mediocre quarterback from what was that one team? That mediocre team in the Midwest. Point is, with Denver having such a good year, I think even with the quarterback situation that's happening, you still have a running back, R.J. Harvey, UCF, who can actually move the ball, who can actually catch the ball. You have a quarterback who can actually get the ball, steer them down the field. And so, it's just going to be one of those things where I think Denver is going to be able to, you're absolutely right, pull it down by at least 4 points, maybe 5 points.
I mean, Stidham does have a better long ball than Nick's. He throws a better deep pass than Nick's does, but I don't think you're going to see that early. I really think you're going to see the Sean Payton work your tight ends, work your running back, use your wide receivers to clear out the field, set up the run, and then you're going to see a play action pass. You're going to see him work his tight ends, his running backs a lot into this passing game to help move the ball and to help set up what he wants offensively.
So if you're defense, how do you prevent all of that from happening?
How do you prevent screens from happening? Is that what you're asking?
All of that. Boop. All of it.
Well, you got to force him to force his hand. So you stay in man coverage. That'll allow you to take Mike left, stay man coverage, and Mike leaves. So you go into man coverage and force them to beat you. You're in zone coverage. He's going to pick that apart. So you're going to have to play man, which is going to allow you to blitz as well. Your blitzes are going to have to get home, and you're going to have to force him to run the ball. Once he starts running the ball, then you can pick him apart.
So in order to be able to prevent that, you're looking to be able to do your screens. You're be able to do your short little dinks and danks in order to be able to kind of sort of open up the field a little bit.
Right.
But with that being said, I mean, you see New England going in to Denver and being able to actually score. You're looking at least 20 points in order to be able to beat Denver, at least.
Yeah. I think you're looking at 20, 27, 24 points is going to be your high of this game. That's going to be who wins it. Rates to 27, that's not a high-scoring game in the NFL. It is above the average, but it's not like, 30 to 18 or anything like that. It's going to be a low-scoring game, and I really think that it's going to be whoever gets over 24 is going to win this game. Whoever gets above 24 first, it's not going to be it's going to be a defensive battle. So the offenses, it's going to be whoever can make it work. Whoever can get the ball down the field and make it work. You don't need sevens, you need threes. You just got to get points on drives. And I think that's how it's going to be won. And is it Denver? I don't know. I really don't. Is it New England? I don't know. I don't have confidence either offenses. I think the defenses are both playing extremely well. But I think it's whoever flinches first and whoever makes the first mistake.
Out of all these four teams, if you were to have a confidence in terms of these four teams, where would your confidence ratings be in terms of actually winning it?
Oh, winning this, I would
out of these four teams.
Right, I go Seattle 4, St. Louis 3, and then the AFC is just so close right now. Wow. Denver 3 or Denver 2, Patriots 1. I'm not, and that could be interchanged quite easily. I don't think either of them have the firepower to handle the Rams offense, and I don't think either of them have the offense to handle the Seahawks defense.
So do you feel like the NFC game is basically the Super Bowl?
I do. As odd as that is, I mean, yes. There's Mike. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Welcome back. Were you doing homework?
No. Work call. I gotta go run a choo-choo train. So,
that's disgusting.
You'll like it.
Be safe, Mike.
Yeah, I will.
Terrible, bro.
I think Seattle versus Denver will be your Super Bowl, and I think Seattle pulls it out. So that's my prediction. Before I gotta go, peace out. I enjoyed the time. Learn to use the mute button when Andy talks. That's all I gotta say.
All right, be safe.
All right, you guys have a good one.
Later, dude.
You too, brother. Hi, Mike. How's it going? What the heck is going on?
How does this thing work? What's going on? What's going on here?
We got a regular Jerry Jones right there.
Oh my God.
I'm like Jerry Jones.
All right, Mike gave us Seattle, Denver in the Super Bowl. We'll see. Before we get into your picks for the Super Bowl, Brian, you have any bets for today's games?
I sure do. All right. Well, I did have 2 that I'm playing, but I'm not going to give the more, I guess, insane one because it's like a pipe dream. It's an against the spread one, so I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm going to give you the safer play today. This is what I'm thinking: a 4-leg parlay. We're going to take New England's Ramondre Stevenson for 40 yards or more rushing. We're going to take Denver's tight end Evan Ingram for an alternate 20 yards receiving. We're going to take the Rams, Kyron Williams, at least 50 yards rushing. And we're going to take Seattle's Kenneth Walker III as an anytime touchdown scorer. FanDuel right now has a 50% profit boost to boost this up to plus 1031.
Nice. I might play that. What's that, Andy?
So where's our sponsorship?
Andy.
I mean, I could give you the other one. That one's got almost plus 10,000 that I'm playing. So,
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You want to do it?
All right.
Seriously. All right. No, this is what we're doing. We are going with Seattle Seahawks money line and Seattle Seahawks alternate spread at -2.5. And I'm taking the under of 45.5 on that. We're taking Matthew Stafford at 225 or more passing yards and Kenneth Walker III anytime touchdown scorer. That's that first game. Second game, New England Patriots money line and taking the alternate spread at -4.5. I am taking the under at 43.5 points. Drake May 225 yards or more passing and Kayshon Boutte 30 or more receiving yards. That pays out at plus 96.66.
Wow. Almost doubling your money there, bro.
Yep.
Some of that's pretty. They can all be done. They really can. So I think the Bears going to be playing in the Super Bowl. They're going to be winning.
All right then.
But if you're looking at Seattle, you're looking.
Oh, there we go.
You're looking at, in my opinion, Seattle's going to be beating whoever they're playing. Whatever. Who are they playing? The Rams. They're going to be beating the Rams by about 5 points. 27-22. Whatever. And, of course, I think Denver's going to end up pulling this one out by, I would say, a little less than a touchdown.
All right.
And so you're looking at going to be Seattle versus the Broncos, and I have a feeling the Broncos might end up losing to the Seattle Seahawks. But never get tell.
Ryan.
Yes, sir.
What do you got for us, man? Who's your Super Bowl matchup?
I think if I'm just gonna go straight up with with looking at numbers and injuries and everything, I think it's gonna end up being Seattle and New England. I just think Denver doesn't have enough, even though historically the Patriots don't do well at Mile High. I just think Denver's just not gonna have enough.
Right on. All right. Well, I guess I'll play contrarian for us once again, and I'll go Rams Broncos in the Super Bowl. Again, like I said earlier, I really think it's going to be Seattle's game and game to win in the NFC. The AFC game, I'm a little more unsure of. I think it could go to, like I said, whoever turnovers the ball and whoever capitalizes first. It's a race to 27, in my opinion. So why not? Why not the Broncos? So we're about out of time today, gentlemen. You got any closing thoughts? Did it first time, first try?
Yes.
Very nice.
Closing. Here's a closing thought. Why the hell does Mike McCarthy get a job again?
He's a Pittsburgh. He's a Pennsylvania boy, man. They love their ties to the community.
Well, your coach got an extension.
You're right, but again, now it's time to prove it, right?
I hear you.
Yeah. Who do you think folds on that? Who do you think folds on that first? Quarterback kind of sort of wants to bow out, or maybe even Micah Parsons? Who do you think sours on that whole coach coming back?
Wow.
I don't know.
And one other quick point.
That's talk for the offseason.
This is the offseason for us now. Here's another quick point. If the Steelers want McCarthy as their new coach, because the Steelers tend to keep their coaches for like 60 years apiece, McCarthy's going to be good for like 2 years.
McCarthy's there to retain Rodgers. That's why.
Suck, huh?
That's my honest opinion. But anyway,
I agree.
So
those are not complimentary testing.
All right.
The show was nuts.
Whoa. I would like to wish my daughter Brianna a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So happy birthday to her. I do want to thank our wives and families for allowing us to come on here and be complete idiots 1 hour every weekend. I'm not sure if we'll have a show next week.
Idiots right there. Idiots right there.
We'll talk more on that show this week.
Point to a mirror?
I'm pointing.
Till next week, gentlemen.
Go look in it.
Welcome to the always fascinating recap of the 2025 Tampa Bay Buccaneers season. In the eyes of our great head coach, Todd Bowles.
Man, this is some boat. Uh-oh.